And you are looking live. Welcome on in. That is how we start each and every show for our very first training camp practice here for the Washington Commanders, the team out at our practice fields here at the park in Ashburn, Virginia. We have fans. We have plenty of sunshine, and we will be showing you live looks at what is happening throughout our show as we welcome you on in here. Now, also, it is the first year for new QB number 1. Carson Wentz, the veteran signal caller, has a new home here in Washington. He also has some new weapons to work with, and that all starts here at training camp. Now, this is the third training camp in Washington for head coach Ron Rivera. Logan Paulson catches up with the coach to discuss what he will be looking for and how he is feeling entering a crucial season for the team. And we have a Super Bowl MVP standing by. Doug Williams will join us to talk about his time in training camp and what he is watching for as the team takes to the practice field here in Ashburn. It is the closest that you can get to camp without actually being here, and we're bringing it all to you live right now on Command Center. Camp coverage live, presented by the inaugural Commanders fan cruise, setting sail in March 2023. Stay tuned for details on how to seize your spot. So this is your first live look in. It is a new season, year 3 under head coach Ron Rivera. And here you go, looking in at practice. It's pretty exciting. For the past few years, we have predominantly been down in Richmond, of course. It's also been closed because of COVID, and now it is open. It is fantastic to be able to get too close to the players, to have fans out here watching, and to really begin a new season. And we are excited to be here for it, to be bringing you live looks in. Julie Donaldson here with you, joined by my guys, Santana Moss and Logan Paulson. Okay, it's finally here. This is what we've been waiting for. And I feel like the offseason, everybody goes, how was it? I'm like, it goes by fast. It is very busy. There really is kind of no offseason in the NFL these days. But here we are now officially kicking off 2022. What are you guys most looking forward to, Logan, as camp gets going?
I mean, this is just the part where you get to kind of finalize your evaluations. The roster gets finalized, they put the pads on, you get to see what guys are really about. I think that's probably the most exciting element for me. It's just kind of finalizing my evaluations of the roster and seeing exactly where this team is at.
Yeah, one of the things I always look forward to as a player was just getting out here and getting to the thick of things with the guys. You know, when you have those off seasons, you see guys coming in and out. And now training camp is like that last nucleus of us that's who's going to make the team or not. And even for the guys who don't make the team, it's hard to see them go, but the guys who make the team with, you're looking forward to what y'all can do this season.
A lot of positions have already been solidified. I know head coach Ron Rivera is kind of excited to know what you're going to get from certain guys, but as you mentioned, there's a lot they're going to be fighting for that roster spot. But which player are you most excited for and looking forward to seeing here out at camp? Well, we have a poll for you, and we want you to weigh in. So who are you most excited for? You got Carson Wentz, Terry McLaurin, as he just got his new big deal. Jonathan Allen going in year 2 underneath his and after his first Pro Bowl season. Or welcome on in to the rookie, Jahan Dotson, our first round pick. You can scan the QR code right there on your screen, cast your vote, and let us know who you are voting for, who you are most excited to see. Now it's time for some Commanders training camp storylines, and maybe no bigger storyline than the addition of a bona fide starting quarterback. The Commanders trading for Carson Wentz as he spent last season with the Colts after a strong start to his career with the Eagles. Logan, we've already seen a little bit during minicamp and during OTAs. Granted, they didn't have the pads on, so that's what we get to see now, kind of like really how things are different. But what are you most excited for with Carson coming in here and now taking over this offense?
I mean, I think the most exciting element of his game is his physical skill set. I mean, he is a one-of-one type player in terms of arm talent, his ability to move for such a large man. And so, again, bringing that skill set, bringing that arm talent to this offense, an offense that hasn't had it for a couple of years, I think it's exciting to see. And then marry that with the receiving group, with the tight end group that they have here. I think there's a ton of potential for this offense if everything falls as it could.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I'm looking for. So I'm looking for a guy to come in here and be the true number 1 quarterback for this team. I think, you know, the way he takes command in that huddle, owning that he's the guy, regardless of what goes down, good or bad. I just want to see a quarterback that's confident in everything he does. One of the things about this game, you have to have your confidence, and that's something that I'm seeing. I want to see Carson regain here.
He's told me that he feels a lot different now. This is his third team in a matter of 3 years, and how that has impacted him. And also that he feels that he's grown a lot of his leadership as well. Now, also another major storyline that happened earlier this month, will be linking right in there with Carson Wentz, and that is Terry McLaurin for an additional 3 seasons as he got a new contract, keeping him here through 2025 at least. How big of a deal was this, Santana, to get done before camp started?
I think it was great, man. One of the things about players, we don't want to be in those situations. We don't want to sit here and have to be talking about money. We want to go out there and do what we do. So it's always great when you have your agent and those guys who deal with the money part of it, to make sure they get the deal done quick. I was always one of those, because I remember coming here and being traded here, and I missed like a week. And I remember Gibbs calling me. That was dreading. I hated to hear the coach call me saying, "Hey, when you come in," I'm like, "Coach, it's a business, so I have to wait until till I get paid, till I come out, for me to come out there." So it's great to see that you have a guy like Terry who's the leader. He's been the leader from day one, and this young receiver core needs to see their guy here. So I'm glad they got the job done early enough for him to get here to camp on time.
And as Antonio Gibson said, we don't have to answer those questions anymore. It's locked in. It's a done deal.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is a big distraction having to deal with that every day. So 100%.
And of course, head coach Ron Rivera was saying as well, one of the reasons they wanted to do that is they want to kind of show this is the example of if you go about your work every day and you are that leader on the team, on the field, and in the locker room, this is what's going to happen for you. It's kind of setting that tone for the rest of the players in the locker room of what they want as well. So setting that tone would also mean for the rookie. And since we're talking wide receivers, well, they used their first round pick this year, 16th overall, to select wideout Jahan Dotson from Penn State. Now, we've had a chance to get a look at him during OTAs and rookie minicamp, but Santana, what have you seen so far from him?
I mean, he just looks sharp, man. One of the things that you always look forward to seeing in that guy, that rookie, no matter what position he plays, is how ready is he, And this guy, I mean, like you said, they're not in pass yet, but when you watch him run routes, catch balls, just be where he needs to be at, he looks ready. And so I'm hoping to see him continue to do that in camp, so we can really say, come week 1 of the preseason, really get a chance to really grade him and see where he's at.
Yeah, and I mean, he was the most, in my estimation, the most NFL-ready receiver coming out of college, and to see that happen in OTAs, and obviously, got to put the pads on. People move a little different with pads, but I'm excited for what he brings to this offense, and might be the most polished route runner of the group as a rookie, which is always exciting.
You talk about him being really ready, and the most ready receiver coming in out of that group. That is something that this coaching staff really made a conscious point of, is they wanted to get players that not necessarily you have to wait 3 years or so, 2-3 years for them to get, but they're ready to come in, plug and play. And you'd expect that out of your first round pick, to come in and have an impact already. But mind you, we've not seen him on the field with Terry McLaurin yet, because Terry was holding out, and we are excited to see how those two will work together as well. Now let's go to the defensive side of the ball, shall we? Defensive lineman Jonathan Allen earned his first trip to the Pro Bowl last season. He anchored a line that was dominated by injuries, losing both Chase Young and Montez Sweat for the latter part of the season. Logan, what are we expecting from John Allen? Where does his game go after having a Pro Bowl season last year?
I mean, it's so hard to be better than he was last year. I mean, I think he was probably the 3rd defensive tackle in the NFL behind Allen and Jones in Kansas City. And so to be in that pantheon, that lauded group of kind of the best players at the position, I don't know. But I know John's going to work really hard, get better and improve. Obviously, you could add more pass rush moves, be more physical, evolve in the defense. I talked to him a little bit this offseason. He said he was going to really try and take advantage of that single gap approach and really be attacking in terms of first and second down. So I'd love to see that from him. Just make more tackles for loss, be more productive. But yeah, man, he's a fantastic football player.
Yeah, how high is that ceiling? I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, he played so well last year. You just want to see him continue to improve. I think one of the things about being a veteran, we find a way, regardless of what numbers you put up last year, you find a way to be that or try to get a little better from there.
And it's also about elevating guys around you as well.
Sure.
And there's some new guys on the defensive line that he's going to be able to help elevate and kind of break into the NFL as well. All right, so speaking of Pro Bowlers, well, the Commanders lost one when Brandon Sheriff left to sign with the Jaguars. We'll see him in week 1. Also not returning is safety Landon Collins. So new to the mix this year, well, you have quite a fit of new guys. You can see them here on the board. Some of the biggest departures as well. Matt Ioannidis, he left. Eric Flowers off of that offensive line. Coming in the additions, you've got them right there. Trey Turner, somebody that Coach Rivera was really excited to bring back in at guard, a vet that he knows well. So let's dive a little bit deeper. to the team as camp is officially underway. What is the biggest storyline that you're going to be looking for, Logan?
Oh my gosh, there's so many great storylines. I mean, I hate to be like kind of repetitive, but Carson Wentz is the storyline to me. This team is going to be as good as he is, right? This offense could be very, very good, as we talked about. It's going to go as far as he goes, so got to see how he meshes with everything. Besides that, tight ends. I'm a tight end. I want to see those tight ends do well, so that's what I'm keeping an eye on.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Logan must be read my sheet earlier today, because the biggest day, Carson Wentz. That's the storyline. I think he's the captain of the ship. You want to see this guy go out there, like I said before, take command. Be that guy. Be the guy that they say you're not. You know what I mean? We don't need to see you do anything extra. Just do what's needed to be done. And also, I just want to see a guy like Curtis Samuels continue to stay healthy. I want to see his health throughout this training camp. I'm hoping that we have a way of just making sure that we get him out there for bits and pieces of these plays that we might need to see him in throughout the camp. But I want to see this guy day one, because I think with those three guys, Samuel, Dotson, and Scary Terry, man, we could be some trouble out there.
How quickly will it take? Because Carson is a vet, Terry is a vet, Jahan coming in, but we're saying like he should be ahead of maybe a basic rookie receiver coming on in, and with Curtis. How long will it take for them to get in sync? As we did see, because Terry wasn't with him in OTAs and minicamp, we did see the second that minicamp broke, they were out to California working together, so they at least had a little bit of chemistry. But when will that connection happen, Santana?
Who knows? I mean, one of the things I always talk about is, my first year here, I took no snaps with, Mark Brunell. And come week one, about 6 plays into that game, he was in there, and it was like me and this guy was married, that had been together for so long. So I think when you're a pro, you know how to just adapt. You know how to just blend and say, hey, at the end of the day, as long as I know what to do, then you just got to get me the ball. And I feel that, you have enough guys that's capable of doing that. Now, Jahan is the youngest guy, but he's been here. He's got that chemistry down pat. He was the guy that was being the #1 target while Terry was down. So I'm pretty sure he's a little more familiar with, Wentz and everything. But it's not going to take long for Terry or Wentz to get on track.
Logan, we have a lot of rookies coming in here as well, Dotson being one of those. Again, we did get to see them at rookie minicamp. We did get to see them at OTAs, but we have not seen them with pads on. What's going to be the biggest adjustment for the rookies coming in here compared to what we've seen so far?
Well, I think it just depends on the physicality of the position. Like, I think you feel pretty comfortable about Jahan taking that receiver skill set and moving it to training camp, because it's not an overly physical spot. But then you look at running backs like Ryan Robinson, Fedarian Mathis as defensive tackle, Percy Butler at safety. Positions where that physicality is so important, and that's why this time frame is so critical, because you get to see if they've got that physical mindset for those positions, and if they do and if they don't, and if they don't, they can't play in the NFL. So that's why this period is so important, and you're going to find out very quickly if they're ready to go.
So we are bringing you live looks. I mean, this is absolutely great, folks. If you're not able to make it out here at Ashburn, we have you covered, bringing live looks in, taking a look at the quarterbacks right there and Carson Wentz. But Santana, who is that guy? As we kind of asked everybody out there as well earlier, the one player you were really keeping an eye on this season in this training camp.
You know what? We talked about Wentz being he's going to be the guy. He's going to be the storyline. But I think the one guy that stands out to me, I spoke of his name too, Curtis Samuels. He's going to be a guy that I'm going to keep a close eye on.
It's that Ferrari we haven't been able to drive yet, right?
I need to see it. I think he's just he brings a dynamic to this offense that we don't have to get too caught up into our running backs and saying that we have to get McKissick in the game or we have to get the running backs more touches. When you have a guy that's capable of lining up back there, exploiting mismatches and also getting out wide and doing damage there, defense they're going to be scratching their head, because now you have so many different elements that you have to contain. So he's a guy I'm going to pay close attention to. Like I said, I don't want to see him do a whole lot in the preseason, but I want to see him continue to get better. And come week one of the regular season, whatever they do with him throughout these these first preseason games, who cares? But week one, I want to see this guy out there chopping his bits, because I think he can be very big for us.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it's Scott Turner. Scott Turner in terms of what he's going to do to support Carson Wentz, how he's going to handle all these weapons on the outside, the injuries at the tight end position, who's going to step up there. That's all kind of in Scott Turner's wheelhouse. So this offense, what he's going to do to make them better, how he's going to insulate the offensive line from a play calling standpoint. To me, this is a big year for Scott Turner and his development, and kind of saying, I am a legitimate offensive coordinator in the NFL.
I know we've talked a lot about Carson, but that would be who I really want to see. I mean, there are such high expectations. Head coach Ron Rivera has not had a solidified starting quarterback in the first few seasons. Here, I think he's gone through at least a rotation of probably 7 different QBs. And feeding off of what you say with Curtis and with Turner, Is Carson that guy? Can he be that guy consistently? I want to just see that growth, that development, and the health, as he told me he has to stay healthy. Well, the man leading the charge, of course, in his third training camp here in Washington is head coach Ron Rivera. And while Logan had the chance to catch up with him with what head coach Rivera is looking forward to this season, it is part of our Commanders conversation.
Coach, training camp is here, always an exciting time, but as a player I used to get insanely nervous. Talk to all my old buddies, they used to get really, really nervous before training camp started. As a head coach, do you get nervous, or is it just excited for what the season brings?
I'm excited for what the season brings. I really am, Logan. I mean, we've got a lot of questions that we have to get answered. We have several players that, will be coming back from injury that we got to see how they fit. Well, first of all, I got to see where they are physically, but then see how they fit again, because there's been a little bit of transition. We got some new pieces to this puzzle, so it's going to be exciting.
And it's always tough coming back off injury, so you got to reevaluate those guys. And despite the nerves of training camp, I always felt like training camp was a time where I got to really bond with my teammates because you're kind of on lockdown together. You've done probably 30-plus training camps. Do you have any cool stories about teams coming together, or funny stories from when you were playing?
I have a great funny story. It's one of my favorites. It was way back in the day, and my group of guys, Dan Hampton, Steve McMichael, Richard Dent, Jim Morrissey, there was a group of us guys. They used to hang out all the time. We used to play cards all the time. And during training camp, curfew would come around, and then we go to bed. Well, one night in particular, it was late in the camp. Curfew comes around, they do bed check, and then all of a sudden, here comes Dan Hampton and Richard Dent and Steve. Like, come on, boys, we're going. So, I mean, we're going. Says, we're going. We're going over to the club. We're going to play some pool, drink some beer. So we went over, and we were at this bar, and we're drinking beer, and we're shooting a little bit of pool and kind of BSing. It's about 11:30. All of a sudden, the waitress comes up. She brings this pitcher of beer, and she goes, "Oh, here." And I go, "Oh, here, I got it." She goes, "Oh, no. That's from the coach." I said, "The coach?" She goes, "Yeah, he's sitting over there." But you know what? In about a couple minutes, he comes over. He starts talking to us, hanging out with us, shooting pool with us. And so he goes, "Oh, I don't know about you boys, but we got practice tomorrow, and it's already midnight." And so we all get in the car and we start driving back to the dorm, and I'm looking at the guys going, "We're so screwed. He's going to blow us up tomorrow, I promise you." Well, he never said anything about it. And so one day I just happened to say, "Coach, you never find us for that." He goes, "Ronnie, let me tell you something. You were doing what teams are supposed to do. You guys were bonding. You were hanging out together." I thought, that was pretty cool.
So if you caught some guys out, what would you do? It's a little different now.
It is different.
Because I remember back when my rookie year, guys would go out, sneak curfew, all that stuff. Now, different vibe. Would you punish those guys, get a fine, or what?
No, you know what? If that's the case, no. Because I think that's the thing that you want. You want guys spending time together. You want guys, being themselves. What you don't want is something crazy, nightclub, something like that. That you worry about.
So back in OTAs, you said that was kind of the foundational laying period for the season, right?
Yes.
I feel like training camp, you're maybe like moving some furniture around, you're really finalizing that roster. What do you need to see from the offense and defense? Kind of those last little touches, curtains, chairs, What do we got?
See, and you're exactly right, Logan, and I think that's a really good example of where we are now, is that, okay, let's start putting these specific things to work. We're going to start working on specific parts of what we want to do offensively. Whether it's going to be our vertical attack, whether it's going to be our field attacks in terms of our passing game. What type of running game are we going to really try and emphasize? Do we emphasize something different with each back? I mean, these are all the questions that we have to answer now that we're going to be able to practice and be a little more physical.
And like, how important is it for your evaluation to get the pads on?
It is. It's very important because you want to see where the growth and development is for a lot of your younger guys. I mean, like, our offensive line is pretty veteran, so we feel really good about those guys for the most part. We've got a couple of young pieces we've got to figure out. Defensive line, okay, one of our big pieces, he's going to start on pup with Chase. And so we got to see where those young guys are.
I see.
Okay, so that's why it's important to be in pads right now for us.
And then this is something I've always wanted to ask you. I know you're kind of a football nerd. You have to be a head coach in the NFL, right? If you could take your head coach hat off and say, what is the thing you're most excited to watch this training camp as a fan of football, what would that be? Oh,
it's going to be how Terry and Carson mesh. Okay, it really is. I mean, I'm excited about that. I know what Terry's skill set is, and I know exactly where he can go with it, you know. And then once those two are meshing, how does it now fit with Curtis?
Sure.
Jahan? What are we going to get from Diami? I mean, I like the wide receiver group, but it's young.
Yep.
It really is. I think we've got some pretty good playmakers around Carson. And now it's going to be, how are we going to use them? How are we going to try and exploit our opponents?
And it's like that football math, right? Like, you know, Jahan, excellent in minicamp OTAs. Terry's a good football player. Curtis is a good football player. But, you know, 1 and 1 in football math doesn't always equal 2, right? You got to kind of have those personalities come together.
Exactly. And the big key is because there's only one football. Right. I mean, it's funny, like we say, oh, how are you guys going to defend? They got this. Well, there's only one ball. Okay? And if there's only one ball, that means only one guy can touch it at a time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's figure out how we're going to get that ball to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach, thank you so much. Right. Good luck with training camp, man.
I'm looking forward to it.
Well, here's a look at what head coach Ron Rivera has accomplished since taking over in Washington. Of course, we made the playoffs in that first year, winning the division with 7 wins. And then the next season followed up with 7 wins as well. A 14-19 record. But as he has said, it takes a good 3 years to turn around the culture. This is the team that he has most wanted after inheriting before a team that only won 3 wins. This is the year that we're hoping for a lot of growth, and as coach has said, a lot of W's. Now, if you want to hear from Coach Rivera, do not miss our open practice on Saturday, August 6th. Coach will address everybody in attendance and is opening up his practice for you to see firsthand. Head on over to commanders.com for more information and to get your free tickets. And don't go anywhere, because coming up next, Logan and Santana are heading down to practice, so you have a field pass. It's access that you will not get anywhere else. You are watching Command Center Camp Coverage Live, and we will be back in just 60 seconds.
I told you long ago on the road, I got what you're waiting for.
Introducing Nitro Pepsi. Smooth, creamy, delicious.
Another rock and roll weekend.
Burgers, better with Pepsi.
And welcome back to Command Center Camp Coverage Live, presented by the inaugural Commanders Fan Cruise, setting sail in March 2023. Stay tuned for details on how to seize your spot. Well, here's a quick look at where we stand on our poll, as we had asked you, who are you most excited to see at training camp as it opens on up? We gave you a few players to choose from. You just have to scan the QR code to cast your vote. Well, we're going to keep that tallying up as we go through. We gave you Carson Wentz, Terry McLaurin, a few other guys to choose from as well. Still time to cast your vote. We have until 9:30 to do so. You also got Jahan Dotson and John Allen. So right there, make sure you scan the code on your screens. Let us know who you're most excited to see as training camp is officially underway here in Ashburn. Well, it is time for your Field Pass presented by FedEx, where now meets next. And we are welcoming back Logan Paulson and Santana Moss as they have made their way down to the practice field. Okay, guys, everybody wants to know what you are seeing from your point of view as a former player.
Starting to trying to get warm.
Yeah.
But I used to come to routes on air a bit warm.
Ready.
You know? So I want to show them that this is the tempo I'm going. This is where I want the ball at. So I want to get this down now. So when we get into those teams in 7-on-7 period, we don't have to work on that.
So would you have a dialogue with the quarterback about, hey, like this is what I'm thinking on this route versus press, this is what I'm thinking versus cover 2, cover 3, or is it just like free access? I'm running a slant.
It was just free access for me. I never really got vocal with quarterbacks.
Interesting.
You know, it's crazy. I think about that a lot now, saying maybe I should have talked more to
Probably.
them and had those conversations. But I was just so stern, and I came from the old school era.
Here's Jahan right here up
Yeah.
right now. You see him?
Yeah, I see Jahan.
Yeah, and I love how just smooth that man is.
No,
and
he's-
like when he
man.
catches the football, it's a
Right
quiet
upfield,
catch.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Quiet. I mean, big mitts.
Yep.
Extend his arms. You know. I mean, it's just he's technique sound. So
And,
I love
and so
that
you
about
said
him.
you didn't talk to the quarterback.
No, I
Do you think
didn't.
that's an important part of building that relationship?
I think it is to a certain extent. I think one of the things you want to do is make sure that they know that they can count on you.
Interesting.
I'd like to show a lot of that stuff. You know, I feel like film don't lie, and when you're making plays, they should see that and know that.
Right.
But I think this era, you need to be a little more vocal. I wasn't vocal, and I don't regret not being vocal because I just felt like I came from an era where it wasn't about me. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So basically, just get me the ball when it's time, but know that I'm going to be open half the time.
Yeah, and this is interesting. They've got AGG here, number 18, working out with the receivers. 40, the kind of fullback hybrid, and then Armani Rogers is the tight ends. And the other tight ends, Bates, Cole, Hodges, have gone over with the offensive line to work inside run stuff, you know, kind of focusing on different things with different skill sets. Obviously, AGG you expect to be over here, right? Because that's what he's going to be, is the receiver tight end, right?
Yeah, he's one of those guys that, you know, you're probably going to see him, you know, and not in the traditional, you know, tight end stands of being on the line, but he's going to be a threat. So you want to see this guy continue to grow in that space. I think, you know, a wide receiver, he's by nature, but, you know, he bulked up to be a tight end, so we're looking forward to see him.
And he looks big as heck, doesn't he? Like, I mean, holy cow. And how important is it for these guys, even though, like, these aren't maybe your kind of traditional starters, to work that relationship with the quarterback at the tight end position,
It's
saying?
very key.
Yeah.
It's very key because I think one of the things about it, man, you know, this league is all about the next man up.
Yeah.
And when you have a guy who's as dominant as our tight end that's down, we're going to have to find that next target there. And you know better than I know, the tight end is the safety net for the quarterback.
Absolutely.
You know, he's the biggest safety net. So when you have a great guy that you know you can always count on and be open, you know, that knows how to get open in certain space and certain coverages, you want to be able to go to that guy. So I'm glad to see these guys working.
And these guys are so unique. This is one of the most unique tight end groups I've ever seen. They're all over 6'6", except for the fullback body type right here.
Remind me of the old UCLA team I played back in the 2000s when we had.
I love that,
those
yes.
Guys was 6'5", 6.
J.J.
It was
Stokes,
like,
Danny Farmer, yeah.
What kind of football team is that when all the receivers are 6'3" and above? You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
absolutely. Yeah, and I think, like, you know, there's guys who get open with twitch, like you were one of those guys, and there's guys that get open with size. And
Yeah.
I feel like they have a type of guy they're looking at the tight end position this year, saying we want guys who can get open with size.
Size is always open, though.
Yeah,
you
that's
know
true.
Because you can box a guy out and you just say, "I'm gonna throw me a jump ball," you know. And
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, that guy don't have to jump. So it's great to have taller guys.
Taller guys and guys that have that basketball multi-sport background, right? I mean, you've got Armani here who played quarterback. You got Sam East played basketball. Cole played basketball. And then now they're going to switch sides here. And I think Terry's going to be up first here at number 1. And obviously he's a happy man now that he's
I'm happy.
one of the highest paid receivers in the NFL. And let's see if Carson Wentz hops up here with him and gets some reps with the man, the myth. And I love here, you see Scott Turner here talking through the progressions with Carson before they throw the football. Kind of this is what you're thinking to get to this ball here, to get to whatever route they're about to throw.
On the money.
That looked like it was on
I mean,
time,
you
right?
know, it's on there, and so it should be. But that's one of the things you want to see these guys continue to build. You know, chemistry is key. And folks fail to realize, man, I was a receiver for so many years, played with so many different quarterbacks. Terry already in his short career here, he played with a lot of quarterbacks. So you know, it's marvelous just to see this guy work with so many different targets. I mean, so many guys just throw him the ball and being able to come down with him and make the plays he's made. So it's always great too to have a quarterback that you can depend on, and I think Carson is that guy that we haven't had in a while.
Yeah, another interesting little note here is he takes 2 on the left side here, Carson, with Cam Sims and Terry, and then he bumps over to the other side and takes it with Samuels and Jahan. So obviously trying to focus on those top 4 receivers in this offense. And it's good to see a guy kind of focusing on those top guys, building that relationship like you're talking about.
You want to see it, man. You want to see it, and I think one of the things that, you know, like we're looking forward to, like you just saw him throw one at AGG and he missed. So AGG ran a bad route, must be. He got to get himself together. But, no, one of the things you want to see.
Oh, there he is.
There. Yeah,
there he is, Terry. Giving you a shout out. That's good
that's
there, huh?
That's the man.
That's how you know you're a big deal, when a guy in practice says what's up to you.
No, but you know how you know you're a big deal? When the guy with all the money give you a holler and say what's up.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so again, we got some offensive line stuff going on over here. Terry, what are we doing right now? Are we closing out or? Yeah, okay. So again, they're going to switch sides one more time. And what was there a route in Routes on Air that you wanted to see, that you wanted to get done?
Well, one of the things I wanted to do is just, like I said, we're trying to get warm in that area. or that period. And I want to run those intermediate routes mostly. You
Oh,
know what I mean?
okay.
The curl route.
Interesting.
The slant route. The slant was not an intermediate route, but I wanted to get that down pat because I know that was more.
And here's Terry running like this kind of drift or the strike from the slot. You know what I mean? And again, that's a timing route. That's kind of what you're looking for.
I love those drift.
Yeah, I know.
We had those in our offense.
And again, Terry, Carson's going to switch now.
Guy who I want to see too, man. The guy wears 89. He wore 11. He had to change it. He wore 89 before. He changed from 89. He said it was too much heat for him.
And now he's
got
back.
It back on. But I think he played well with 89. So I'm glad to see him back in 89.
Yeah, and
I want to see Sims flourish with that number.
Obviously, really a lot of stuff to dive into here, but they haven't even started practice yet. So when we get to that, we'll let you guys know. Look forward to watching the rest of training camp.
All right, thanks, guys. I thought both of them were going to run out there on the field and get in on the action and the drills. Come back on up. We have more to do. Doug Williams is coming up. Need that conversation with everybody here. Now, for everything you need to know about the team and what is happening at training camp, do not miss Command Center. You can see every episode on our YouTube channel and on commanders.com. You can also check us out on NBC Sports Washington, weekdays 5:30 and 10 p.m. Now, don't go anywhere because when we come back, Super Bowl MVP Doug Williams is stopping by the set to talk about his camp memories and what he is watching for from this year's team. This is Command Center Camp Coverage Live, and we'll be back in 60 seconds.
I told you long ago, on the road, I got what they waiting for.
Introducing Nitro Pepsi. Smooth, creamy, delicious.
Another rock and roll weekend.
Burgers, better with Pepsi.
And welcome back to Command Center Camp Coverage Live, presented by the inaugural Commanders Fan Cruise, setting sail in March 2023. Stay tuned for details on how to seize your spot. Here's a look at what you, the fans, are saying about camp. A lot of folks pretty excited for a new team coming out here in Ashburn. Now, one of the names everybody's most looking forward to seeing at camp is quarterback Carson Wentz. And, well, there you go. A lot of excitement as you see it, of course. Hail to the Commanders, going all over the place. Chase Young. Folks excited to see him, of course, as he is coming back from injury. Coach not giving a timeline on exactly when we will see him on the field in action. But, of course, we just hope that some point in the season. Of course, lots of congratulations to Terry. Big bag Terry, as he got a nice deal, making sure he stays around in Washington. Of course, his success relies upon that of quarterback Carson Wentz, and we're getting to know the new signal caller, so let's learn a little more about the Commanders' QB1. It is our Pepsi player profile. Pepsi, the official soft drink of the Washington Commanders.
All right, burgundy or gold? I'm going gold, college colors. Office or Parks and Rec, hate to admit, not watched either of them. Sweet or sour? I'm gonna go with sweet. North Dakota or South Dakota, is that really a question? Basketball or baseball? We'll go baseball. That was probably more of my love as a kid. City or the country? Country for sure. Music or podcast? It's a great question, depends on the mood, but probably music. Lucky Charms or Captain Crunch? Probably Lucky Charms, even though I don't eat much cereal anymore. Breakfast or dinner? Dinner for sure, even though when I was a kid, breakfast was everything to me. Kickball or dodgeball? Dodgeball. I'm quarterback. Mountains or the beach? I'm going to the mountains all day. TV show or movie? TV shows, normally. Chess or checkers? Chess, even though it's been a minute since I played chess. Ross, Chandler, or Joey? Joey, because he's hilarious. Fly or be invisible? Fly. That would be pretty sick. Pet monkey or llama? Pet monkey or llama? I would take a pet monkey because they're a lot smarter than llamas. Batman or Spider-Man? Probably Batman because he's just a real normal dude with a lot of high-tech gear. Instagram or Twitter? Instagram, even though I don't live on really either of them very often. Tea or coffee? Coffee 2 to 3 times a day. Vanilla or chocolate? Vanilla, always.
Carson looked to thoroughly enjoy that. So let's take a look now at what really matters. It's not chocolate or vanilla, it's what he does on the field. But great to get to know the personalities behind these guys. So look, 27 touchdowns to just 7 interceptions. You have to be excited for that. Don't force the ball, but we know he's got that arm to go deep as well with a 62% completion percentage. And so it is time now for Fresh Takes presented by Safeway, the official supermarket of the Washington Commanders. And Logan and Santana made it back up from the field. They're a little sweaty. It's kind of hot down there. It started off early in the 80s, but that's what camp is all about. It gets hot. And especially when we have the legendary Doug Williams on set with us. So nice to have you here with us, Doug.
I tell you what, this is a great day. I mean, coming out here, the sun is shining. I know it's hot, but just to see the guys on the field.
Play some football, right?
Yeah, it's football time.
Yeah. Well, it's expected to be hot. It's expected to have everybody out here in the field. We're thrilled for that, but we have to start with, look, you've seen a lot of Washington football. This is the first year now as the Washington Commanders football. What are you most excited about heading into this season and what we're going to see at camp?
I think, no doubt about it. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say it's Carson Wentz. Mm-hmm. You know, this football team, to me, was missing a guy like Carson Wentz, who has the confidence and the attitude to bring to this team. And when you talk about the weapons that he has to work with, you know, you talk about Terry, you talk about Dotson, but then, you know, Curtis Samuel, and then you got Dami Brown. You got 4 guys from a weapon standpoint. We hadn't even talked about the tight end, you know, and then you got the running back. So the burden of proof, to be honest with you, is on the offensive coordinator of getting these guys some touches. And I think that's going to be the bottom line.
That was your point, Logan.
Yeah, and you know, Scott. Do you think he's ready for this challenge? I mean, do you think he's ready to go? This is a big lift now.
Well, let me say this: what he's done in the past, especially last year, you know, I think he's gotten ready for it. But to add Dotson to this whole thing, and Logan coming back, and hopefully Samuel's come back healthy, it's another challenge for him. You know, he's gonna have to spend a lot of hours in the front of that tape and thinking about how I can get this guy. I remember when, to be honest with you, when I played here with Joe Gibbs, he had the same problem with the posse. Yeah. You know, his thing was, I got to find a way to get these guys 7 throws. You know, he was saying, you got 7 throws. Now, it's up to the quarterback to make the decision. But I'm going to get you 7. You know, so I think he has the same problem, but it's a great problem.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you.
You can't ask for a better problem.
Right.
You know, a lot of people like to have the problem that he has.
Speaking of that problem, you know, being in Carson Wentz's shoes, as far as a quarterback standpoint, when you have so many targets, did you pick a favorite? Did you say, look, one of these guys just always open, or one of these guys, like, I know for sure that's going to come down with the ball? You had some great guys out there. Monk, you know, you name it, Gary, Clark, I mean, the list goes on.
Well, you know, you're going to have some guys say I was open. Gary Clark was the prime example.
Always, I'm sure.
Always open. Yeah. You know, and I remember one game, we was playing a game, and it was for Gary originally, but it went to somebody else, so Gary's standing like this. You know, and I used a little word. I said, tell me to get back to the huddle, you know. And Gary and I, we formed that relationship, man, and they understood the way we played the game. They all worked together. And you know, wherever the ball went, they all was full.
You know, Santana earlier was saying that it didn't take him any time at all to get in sync with Mark Brunell, having missed camp. Like, you having time with different guys. We've got a young rookie receiver coming here expected to step up in Jahan Dotson. Terry, first time working with Carson, you know, because he missed minicamp and OTAs. You mentioned all the other facets in offense. When do you, as a quarterback, like, know things are clicking and have that chemistry down?
Well, as a quarterback, you know, I don't see that as a problem, because number one, what Dobson has shown us this whole offseason, that he's ready to play. We know who Terry is. You know, we got to wait on Samuels, and Dami got to come around. But Carson Wentz has been in this league long enough he has to make the adjustment.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure that he's capable of making an adjustment to the guys. And I think when that happened, it's about, hey, we're having confidence, and it's all about attitude. This whole season is attitude, a will to win, and the confidence to make it happen.
And we talked a lot about the offense, but you know, there's two sides to the football. How are you? What's your confidence level with the defense at the moment?
You know, I've been on this defense for the last 3 or 4 years because I thought we had the people in place. They're grown up now.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully when Chase come back and with Sweat on the other end, Jonathan and Payne, you know, we got probably, and I say this all the time, the best young old defensive line in the league because they've been around long enough, but they're still young enough to say they're young. You know, with the secondary now, I think we've solidified the secondary a little more. But I think these guys can put pressure on the quarterback up front to make the secondary that much better.
Yeah.
I want to stay on the defense too. You know, one of the guys who's my favorite player on this team, and it might sound odd, but Cam Curl. You know, this guy has showed me. And I don't want to go out here and go too far because I know there's going to be a lot of Washington fans that say, come on, Tanner. But when it comes down to the plays that he's making has been on the level of Sean Taylor in his early years, you know what I mean? So what has Cam done that's shown you that this guy's ready to go out there and be a difference maker?
I think the last couple of years, he has grown. And there's no doubt in my mind going into his third year, he has to be better. He understands what it takes to play the position they play and how to play it. And that's what he's shown since he's been here. And I think that in itself tells you that he's ready for a breakout year. I mean, that's the way I see it.
That's how I look at it.
Where would you say the biggest question mark is on this team that you really need to see how they come together and grow and develop, and who may step up?
You know, you talk about question mark. I think it should be answered by now. When you look at this team, and I say this all the time, on paper, this football team is as good as any team in the National Football League, if they want to be. You know, I know a lot of questions out there is on Carson Wentz, but you look at the year that he had last year. His year last year was not bad. He probably had a couple bad games, but when you look at it realistically, if he played that way this year, the way he played last year, we're going to be a lot further along. Because 1 or 2 games flip up, you got 17 games. And you expect the guy not to play his best 17 games. You would hope he would, but it doesn't happen all the time. So when I look at this, I don't look for any surprises. I look for domination on defense and an offense that can score when they need to and keep the ball away from the other team when they need to.
You know, a lot of that, too, going in last year would attest to head coach Ron Rivera believing that he had a lot of the guys, but he questioned their maturity. And he says now he's not questioning their maturity as much. And they played a lot of young guys. So there's a lot of experience on a lot of youth going into this season. It's taking advantage of that experience. Like you said, that will, too, coming together. Now, pretty exciting as we just announced the first recipient of the Doug Williams Coaching Fellowship. It is the Tyree Reed Jr. Reed will join the staff as an offensive assistant. It's going to be involved also with the quarterbacks. What is your thought about this fellowship and how important it is?
This is a great fellowship, not just because my name is on it, but because the NFL mandatory that all teams do the same thing. And it's to get young minorities in position to be offensive coordinator, quarterback coaches, and probably end up being a head coach down the road. And I think with the adding Tyree in here tell us one thing. You know, we had a lot of good candidates, but Tyree came in here and he blew it out the water. And he impressed all the coaches, so that's why he's here. So I'm looking forward to it for him and for this team to have a good coach.
Looking forward to that, and of course, anything with your name on it is exciting and well-deserved. A great honor, just like we're glad to have you here. I always joke, I said, anytime I have a bad day, Doug Williams is 2 doors down. We're honored to have you here with us each and every day, and of course, joining us for camp. We're going to be here throughout training camp. Constantly, folks. So we're going to make sure you have full coverage of everything you want to know as we head into our first season as the Commanders. 3rd year under head coach Ron Rivera, and according to Doug Williams, if everything plays out on paper, you stay healthy, you get this team going together in the same direction, it's going to be a year of a lot of promise and a lot of excitement as well. So we want to be asking you throughout camp who you're most excited to look forward to. Make sure you go to our polls, make sure you weigh in, because we want you involved, we want you active, we want to make sure we are talking about what you want us to talk about as well. Now, thanks for joining us. Again, you can catch us on our website, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Throughout camp, we'll be having shows for you as well. And we'll have, of course, our Command Center coming up on NBC Sports Washington, 5:30, 10 p.m. But no excuse to not see us. We'll be back here again with you live on Friday, August 5th. Thanks for watching Command Center Camp Coverage Live. We'll see you next time, everybody.